Bill, it's good to have you on Infinite Imaginarium.
Great, yeah, thanks for having me. I love the Imaginarium. Best. It's true grassroots minds, that's for sure.
And it's about turning this energy that Minds has helped us to gather and to turn it into like this feedback loop of doing like what you did with the Gathering of the Minds. But I would love for that to keep on, growing and expanding as far as this kind of like, okay, we have had social media, right? And basically all it's done has been kind of like have this addictive kind of casino attention without giving us really anything, just stealing our data so they could sell us like ads for like tube stocks or give us fake news. But why can't we use this attention in different ways, in creative ways, in fun ways? And there's a lot of different apps doing something similar to that, but there's like, that's what I always loved about Minds and about having this ongoing discussion with you is like, there's a blank canvas. We could do anything with Minds. We could do like anything with this social network,
Minds at the beginning, which was the thing that I really loved about it, was that it gave you this ability to connect with so many people to the point that you could actually potentially meet them in person. It gave you that opportunity rather than just, like you were saying, Dan, being on social media for the sake of being on social media, because in the end you ask yourself the question, what is this, why are we doing it? If we're just going round and round in a fishbowl, sharing memes, amazing blogs, but then we never actually connect with any human beings on a physical level, it's kind of like, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that we don't always connect with people or meet people in person, but that was what I thought was so brilliant about Minds. There was that vibe about it that was different to all the other social media platforms, almost like it hadn't occurred to people in that social media platform reality yet. In Minds, it was like this ability to connect people, particularly with the boost function. It's like that in itself is the most amazing part about it, that you can, and I know now we have the tokens, but that ability to connect with so many people on such a massive scale is, there's never been anything like that ever. Brilliant.
Yeah, you can. I agree with Daniel that you can't really separate digital and physical. Ultimately, technology and nature are intertwined, and so it's not really. We just have to be careful about not letting ourselves polarize the situation and be too anti-tech or too too consumed in it. It's just like finding that flow that works. And we all know at the end of the day, when we wake up in the morning, if we just you wake up in the morning, you sit on your phone for the first like hour of waking life, that's a little bit insane.
The minute your eyes open, it's like, oh, I mean, I can literally open my eyes and I kind of feel down to the phone, and it's like, where's my
That's
phone?
why you got to put the phone on the other side of the room.
I've knocked it onto the floor and I'm literally feeling around on the floor like, where's my phone? Oh God, literally the minute my eyes open, and I often have this thought process to myself. I think a lot of people don't even think anything of it, Bill. I think a lot of people just do it. It's the norm, it's what they do, it's what humans have evolved into, that kind of lifestyle. But, a lot of us do actually think of it. I think, this is a weird reality that we're all existing in, and that we do this, but yet we all do it. And we have to embrace, technology and the way the world is now.
Mm-hmm.
It's what we've evolved into. It's where we are now in the present moment. So I don't think it's a case of trying to not do it. It's just there's no going backwards at this point.
Kind of going back to what Bill kind of popped into my mind, and I like the analogy that you were getting. I think central to Minds, what the power was, what I saw when it was social network, is that you used the phrase open source. So that gave me the innate thought, well, if it's open source, then that means I can contribute to it, like co-creating and all that kind of stuff. And it makes me the person that I am to think, well, that's why me and Ghost Spiders would just talk about point system and like people are gaming it, or like how does this affect the environment. Like that's just like what we like to do for fun. Me and Ghost Spiders sit around and talk about the pros and cons of the functions on minds. But you know, like, people are different in all sorts of different ways. But when you say that you could help co-create in whatever small way, you know, like there's like the bug and group channel. I remember when I first was on Minds, I would troll that and just help people with simple stuff like, oh, like, why can't I do this? And you just, because it's like common knowledge for most of this stuff, and it makes you feel good, and you maybe made a new person that you could interact with, you know. And
yeah, no, honestly, that is, I cannot tell you how helpful it is when people contribute in the support group and help us bust through those questions that new people are having. That's huge. And then for, obviously the coders, they can check out the code at minds.org. And then, you know, just generally speaking, open source applies to like all the different layers of Minds. So it's the content, it's the code, it's the contribution, it's the whole thing.
Yeah, and I like your an analogy we're saying about open source is like organic food, and that makes me think too, you know, about like when you're consuming these apps and the different attentions. Like I would say, I used to joke around with Corey about this, like, oh man, I can't believe I was watching too much politics. It's like eating a bag of chips. Like it's all like it gets addictive, and then later you feel like shit afterwards. Like I know it's not good for me, but I was like, oh, I'll just take a little bit of it. I'll read this one article about Donald Trump, and then it turns into like an hour, and I feel bad. Just like, you know, oh, I'll just eat one bag, only one chip today, and then eat the whole bag. And feel like crap. But but there's no reason why we can't use this attention to make us feel better, you know, or make us feel more energized. And that's something too that what I learned and why I kind of like doing these kind of stream of consciousness hangouts is that every time there's a little bit of anxiety that comes into like, oh, doing these things, but every time there's always a certain point in the conversation where you just feel better, like you feel more energized and your mind starts going again, and like, you know, you feel like, okay, like let's do more stuff, like this is where we should be doing it, this is where we're at. Kevin,
I love your remixes, man. Something about the combination of music and visuals and text and just this whole like meme culture.
Yeah, this is the remix. Come on now.
Awesome, man.
Yes, I'm a kid, man. It was awesome.
Yeah,
that gets pretty real right about there.
Oh yeah. Yeah. About started crying.
For real, yeah. Did you start recording, Corey?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I'm in love with large bills and down with a fat ass and waist and tall heels. Yeah, it's the Teflon Don, 100 carats in the trunk, trying to give it back in charge.
But bringing momentum back to the project and getting things going again, just because it was a bit of a hiatus and a bit of scattered on the direction of how everything was going for a bit.
Whoa, it's Queen B, nigga. Jump on. I've been gone for a minute, now I'm back with the jump off. Goons in the club, case something jump off. The back up for the hive, let the pump off. In the graveyard is where you get dumped off. All we wanted to do is party. And buy everybody at the bar Bacardi. Black Barbie dressed in Bacardi. I'm trying to leave.
So everybody's kind of hungry to start doing more work like that, like this loose, decentralized, collaborative way. And so I think this is perfect for the landmines.
We the best, still is room for improvement. Our presence is felt like a Black Panther movement. 7/4 to 8, back to back, and I'm sitting on chrome 7 times. That's on my
But we still have that viral growth with Minds to bring it back.
Yeah, I liked it, man. It was for me, it was pretty fun. So I'm just gonna keep running with it, having fun with it. See who else joins in and tag some stuff. Hey, it sounds fun to me, man. So as long as I have fun with it, I mean, that's kind of the direction. The only direction I want to steer it in is as long as I can keep having fun with it. And everybody involved, you know. Anything that we can do to pull in, you know, more people to participate. I think the bigger it gets, the funner it would get.
Is just insane. It's like,
Yeah.
it's such a good way to communicate information. It's so effective, whether it's like comedy or politics or just art or anything.
Yeah, and you know, I was watching this newscast thing, and so you know the whole Sinclair thing, it didn't go like viral until someone made that montage, right, of all the anchors like talking over. And anyways, now everybody knows about Sinclair, but you know, John Oliver did a bit about it, and Sinclair, like if you read, you know all about their merger and different things that they're doing as far as kind of having a bias to how they report stuff, which is besides the point. But that one fact didn't go viral till it came into everybody's consciousness until someone did that montage, and that like kind of quick little montage, and then it came into like the collective awareness.
Yeah, you know, absolutely. I mean, a meme has more chance of getting something into public consciousness than you know an in-depth piece of journalism potentially.
Yeah. Like that's how the ideas. I mean, ideas. You know, the whole meme thing is about how ideas replicate and the smallest form of them. But you know, it's so interesting discussion. But it's so interesting, you know, and it just kind of goes back to Minds. One of the first things that I latched onto Minds is that ideas are networks, and these ideas of certain things build these networks out. Because, like for instance, the Cambridge Analytica thing. I was talking to my cousin in New York, and so we were talking about that a little bit. And the whole time that it was happening, I was like, this is stuff I've known for like a long time and been like ranting and raving to anybody that talked to me at a party. Like, do you know what Google and Facebook are doing with your data? Blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh, there goes Daniel again, ranting and raving about this stuff. And then Cambridge Analytica, I was like, that doesn't shock me. But it was kind of cool because I was like, well, if you're worried about that, you could use something like Minds. You know, there's a lot of programs out there. There's a lot of interesting, even like what I've been using recently is called Brave. It's,
the browser.
The browser, yeah. It's really nice to have it, like the browser itself, have the capability to set how you want, you know, your information to be. So if you want to block all the ads, you just block them on the settings of the browser. It's kind of like by default, you know. But and then later they're gonna have a crypto thing. But it's interesting how this is all becoming like the norm. You know, before it was something that only us crazy people on Minds would like talk about cryptocurrency and worried about your data getting ripped off. And then now my cousin from like New York is like trying to tell me about it, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's interesting. Like, you should check this out or that. I didn't want to go all tinfoil hat on him, you know.
Yeah, you got to kind of tread lightly and just not force feed.